Right now, at this very moment, 70 million Americans are in the direct path of what meteorologists are calling the most dangerous winter storm system in over a decade. The question is not if this storm will impact you, but how severe will it be when it arrives at your doorstep in the next 72 hours. By the time you finish watching this, you will know exactly which areas face catastrophic ice accumulation of over half an inch, where snow totals could exceed 18 inches. And most critically, the one preparation mistake that could leave your family stranded without power for up to 2 weeks. Stay with me, because at the 5-minute mark, I will reveal the exact timeline for when this storm hits your specific region. Here is what we know right now. The National Weather Service has issued winter storm warnings covering an area larger than the state of Texas. We are talking about impacts stretching from the Oklahoma Panhandle all the way to the Carolinas. Over 150 million people will feel some effect from this system. But here is the shocking part. This is not a quick 12-hour event. Some communities will face 48 to 72 hours of continuous winter weather. The storm begins Friday afternoon. Right now, that is less than 72 hours away. The first snowflakes start falling across Oklahoma. Light snow at first, you might think. But within 6 hours, the situation transforms completely. By Friday night, Dallas-Fort Worth faces something residents have not experienced in years, a devastating ice storm that meteorologists are comparing to historic events from 2014. Let me paint you a picture of what Friday night looks like. Freezing rain begins coating every surface. Trees, power lines, roads. Imagine a 1/4 inch of ice accumulating on every single branch of every tree in your neighborhood. Now imagine that ice building to 1/2 inch, 3/4. In some areas, over 1 full inch of solid ice weighing down power lines that were never designed to handle that kind of stress. But wait, there is something even more concerning. While Dallas deals with ice, just 200 miles north in Oklahoma, they are facing a completely different threat: heavy snow. Not just a few inches. We are talking about potential accumulations of 12 to 18 inches of heavy, wet snow. The kind that collapses roofs. The kind that makes travel absolutely impossible. Here is where the storm gets truly unusual. Most winter storms move through in 12 to 18 hours. This one? It parks itself over the south-central United States and refuses to move. Saturday morning arrives, and the storm is still raging. Oklahoma is buried under snow. Northern Texas is encased in ice. Arkansas is experiencing both simultaneously. Little Rock sits right on that critical boundary line between snow and freezing rain. Think about this for a moment. When was the last time you saw your neighbors? When was the last time you checked on the elderly couple down the street? Because this is the kind of storm where checking on each other becomes a matter of life and death. Looking out for one another is not just the right thing to do, it could save lives. This is that moment. By Saturday afternoon, the 24th, the storm has not weakened, it has intensified. Western Tennessee is now in the danger zone. Memphis faces the same brutal combination: freezing rain mixed with sleet, creating roads that are essentially skating rinks covered with a layer of ball bearings. Emergency services cannot respond. Ambulances cannot reach people who need help. Let me share something that will help you understand the scale. Forecasters are tracking not 1, not 2, but 3 separate waves of moisture feeding into this system. Just when you think it is over, another surge of precipitation arrives. Saturday night into Sunday, areas that thought they were finished with the worst of it get hit again. More freezing rain, more snow, more ice accumulation on top of what is already there. The meteorological models are showing something remarkable. The European model, the American GFS model, and even the newest artificial intelligence weather models all agree. That almost never happens. When all the models align, you need to pay attention. This is real. This is happening. This is not hype. Here is your reward for staying with me for the first 30 seconds. I am going to tell you right now which 3 items you absolutely must have that most people forget. Number 1, a way to charge your phone without electricity. Because when the power goes out, and it will go out for millions of people, your phone becomes your lifeline to emergency services. Number 2, water. Not just for drinking. When pipes freeze and burst, you need water for sanitation. Stock at least 1 gallon per person per day for 7 days. Number 3, a way to heat at least one room in your house safely. Not a gas generator in your garage that kills people every winter. A proper method that will not create carbon monoxide. Now let me take you deeper into the timeline. Sunday morning arrives. Most people think the storm should be over by now, but the models show something different. The Southeast is about to get slammed. Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, they are all in the crosshairs, and these are states that do not have the equipment to handle this kind of winter weather. They have a few dozen salt trucks for the entire state. They have snow plows you can count on 2 hands. The National Weather Service issued a graphic just hours ago showing the probability of at least moderate impacts. Folks, when you look at this map, entire states are colored in dark red. That means high confidence in significant, dangerous impacts. South Carolina, the entire state faces freezing rain. Not snow, freezing rain. That is the worst possible scenario. Why is freezing rain worse than snow? Let me explain this in a way that will help you understand. Snow you can shovel. Snow you can plow. Snow accumulates, but then it stops. Freezing rain is different. It is liquid water that freezes on contact with anything colder than 32 degrees. Every raindrop that hits becomes a tiny shell of ice. Now multiply that by millions of raindrops falling for 12, 24, 36 hours. The weight is catastrophic. In 2014, parts of South Carolina experienced an ice storm that left some areas without power for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. In January, with temperatures in the teens and 20s. Some families had to evacuate their homes. Others burned furniture to stay warm. Hospital emergency rooms filled with people suffering from hypothermia and carbon monoxide poisoning from improper heating methods. But here is what you need to know, and this is critical. You still have time, not much time, but enough time to prepare if you act right now. Today, not tomorrow, today. Let me walk you through what the next 5 days look like, hour by hour, for the hardest hit areas. Thursday afternoon, the cold air begins pouring down from Canada. Temperatures that were in the 50s and 60s crash into the 30s and 20s within hours. This rapid temperature drop is essential for the winter weather that follows. Thursday night, high pressure builds over the plains. This is a massive dome of Arctic air with pressures reaching 1054 millibars. For context, normal pressure is around 1013 millibars. This is an exceptionally strong high-pressure system bringing brutally cold air. Surface temperatures drop into the teens across Oklahoma, Kansas, northern Texas. Friday morning, you wake up and it is cold, really cold. Colder than it has been all winter. The sky looks gray and heavy. By noon, the first precipitation begins. It starts as snow in Oklahoma, light at first. But the snow quickly becomes heavier. By 3 p.m. Friday afternoon, snowfall rates reach 1 to 2 inches per hour in some areas. That is heavy snow, the kind where you cannot see across the street. Friday evening, around 6 p.m., the freezing rain begins in North Texas. The rain starts and immediately everything it touches turns to ice. Trees start accumulating ice, power lines start accumulating ice, roads become sheets of glass, and it keeps coming all night long without stopping. Friday night into Saturday morning, this is when the first major power outages begin. Tree branches weighted down with ice begin to snap. They fall onto power lines. Transformers explode with blue flashes lighting up the dark sky. Entire neighborhoods go dark, and with temperatures in the low 20s, homes begin to cool rapidly. Saturday morning, 8 a.m., the sun comes up on a disaster zone. Roads are impassable. Ice coats everything. Snow continues to fall north of the ice line. Total accumulations in Oklahoma are already reaching 8 to 12 inches. Ice accumulations in Texas are approaching 1/4 to 1/2 inch, and the storm is not even halfway finished. Saturday afternoon, the storm shifts slightly. The ice line moves. Areas that were getting snow start getting freezing rain. Areas that were getting freezing rain might start getting sleet. This boundary is incredibly sharp. Drive 10 miles and you go from snow to ice. This makes forecasting exact impacts difficult, but the overall message is clear. Dangerous winter weather everywhere. Saturday night, this is when the secondary wave of moisture arrives. Just when you think maybe it is letting up, here comes another surge of precipitation. Freezing rain intensifies across Louisiana, southern Arkansas, Mississippi. The accumulation on top of what is already there becomes too much. More power lines fail, more trees come down. Sunday morning, the storm finally begins to shift east. But now Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina are in the gun. These states are not equipped for this. They do not have the infrastructure. They do not have the experience. A winter storm in Atlanta or Columbia or Raleigh causes chaos even with just an inch or two of snow. This storm is bringing ice, lots of ice. Sunday afternoon, the freezing rain is falling across the Carolinas. Temperatures are in the upper 20s, perfect for maximum ice accumulation. The ice builds and builds. Power outages spread across the region. Hundreds of thousands of people lose electricity, then millions. Sunday night into Monday, this is the peak of the crisis for the Southeast. No power, sub-freezing temperatures, ice everywhere, roads closed, emergency services overwhelmed. This is when people need help the most. Now let me tell you about the atmospheric dynamics creating this monster. You have a massive trough of low pressure at the upper levels bringing down Arctic air from Canada. At the same time, you have a low-pressure system in Baja California, Mexico, providing a huge surge of moisture from the Pacific Ocean. These two systems merge and create a perfect winter storm. But here is what makes this unusual. Normally, you would see warm air aloft, and that is what you are getting. But at the surface, you have shallow but extremely cold Arctic air that refuses to move. So you have warm air overriding cold air. That is the classic setup for freezing rain. Precipitation falls as liquid, passes through warm air, then freezes when it hits the cold air right at the surface. The National Weather Service uses specific terminology. When they say winter storm warning, that means significant amounts of snow or ice are expected. When they say ice storm warning, that means significant ice accumulation, usually more than 1/4 inch. When they say blizzard warning, that means sustained winds of 35 miles per hour or greater with considerable falling or blowing snow. This storm has all three in different locations. Blizzard conditions in parts of Oklahoma and Kansas. Ice storm warnings in Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee. Winter storm warnings from the southern plains all the way to the Carolinas. The geographic scope is massive. Temperature anomalies show just how extreme this cold is. We are talking 20 to 25 degrees below average. Areas that should be in the 40s will be in the teens. Areas that should be in the 50s will be in the 20s. This is not a typical cold snap. This is Arctic air that has no business being this far south in late January. Let me address something important. Some of you might be thinking, they always hype these storms and then nothing happens. I understand that skepticism, but this is different. Every single weather model agrees. The National Weather Service has issued warnings days in advance. Local emergency management agencies are activating their emergency operations centers. Power companies are bringing in crews from other states to help with restoration. This is happening. This is real, and you need to take it seriously. Now, at the 5-minute mark as promised, here is the specific timeline for your area. If you are in Oklahoma or Kansas, the heavy snow begins Friday afternoon and continues through Saturday night. Expect 12 to 18 inches of snow with blizzard conditions. Travel will be impossible. If you are in North Texas, including Dallas-Fort Worth, the ice storm begins Friday night and continues through Sunday morning. Expect significant ice accumulation of 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch. Widespread power outages are likely. Some areas could be without power for a week or more. If you are in Arkansas or Louisiana, you face a mixed bag. Northern areas get heavy snow, southern areas get devastating ice. The line between the two is sharp and could shift. Plan for the worst-case scenario in your location. If you are in Tennessee, including Memphis and Nashville, freezing rain and sleet begins Saturday and continue through Sunday. Ice accumulation of 1/4 to 1/2 inch expected. Major travel disruptions and power outages likely. If you are in Mississippi, Alabama, or Georgia, the winter weather arrives Sunday and continues into Monday. Freezing rain is the primary threat. Ice accumulation possible up to 1/2 inch in some areas. If you are in South Carolina or North Carolina, this hits you Sunday into Monday. The entire region faces freezing rain. This is a particularly dangerous situation because these states rarely experience this type of winter weather and are not prepared for it. Here is what you must do right now, today, before this storm arrives. First, go to the grocery store, not tomorrow, today. Get non-perishable food that does not require cooking. Bread, peanut butter, canned goods, protein bars, crackers. Get enough for 7 days minimum. Second, fill up your vehicles with gas, all of them. Fill up gas cans too if you have a generator. Once the storm hits, gas stations will lose power and you will not be able to pump gas even if they have it. Third, charge everything. All your phones, all your tablets, all your battery packs, all your portable chargers. Charge them all fully. Fourth, bring everything inside. Patio furniture, plants, anything that ice could damage. Put your vehicles in the garage if you have one. If you do not, park them away from trees if possible. Fifth, check on your neighbors, especially elderly neighbors. Make sure they are prepared. Offer to help them get supplies. Exchange phone numbers so you can check on each other during the storm. Sixth, prepare one room in your house as a warm room. If the power goes out, you will not be able to heat your entire house. Pick one room, preferably one without exterior walls if possible. Close it off. That is where your family will stay to conserve body heat. Seventh, know where your flashlights are. Know where your candles are. Know where your matches are. Do not wait until the power goes out to start looking for these things in the dark. Eighth, have a battery-powered radio. When the power is out and your phone battery is dead, a radio might be your only way to get information about the storm and when help is coming. Ninth, if you take medications, make sure you have enough. If you are supposed to get a prescription filled this week, do it now. Pharmacies will be closed during the storm. 10th, prepare for burst pipes. Know where your water shutoff valve is. If the power is out for an extended period and your house gets very cold, pipes can freeze and burst. Knowing how to shut off your water could save your home from catastrophic damage. Now let me share with you the 3 biggest mistakes people make in winter storms. Mistake number 1. They underestimate how long the power will be out. People think maybe a few hours, maybe overnight. They do not prepare for days or weeks, and then they are caught completely unprepared when the power is still out after 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. Mistake number 2, they use dangerous heating methods. Every single winter storm, people die from carbon monoxide poisoning. They run generators in their garage, they burn charcoal indoors, they use gas stoves or ovens to heat their home. All of these create carbon monoxide, which is odorless and invisible and deadly. If you do not have a safe heating source, it is better to put on more layers of clothing than to use a dangerous method. Mistake number 3, they do not check on each other. People die alone in their homes during winter storms because no one checked on them. No one knew they needed help. We have a responsibility to look out for one another, especially the most vulnerable among us. This is your moment to step up. Let me tell you about what happened in South Carolina in 2014. I was living in Columbia at the time, right in the middle of the path. The forecast showed freezing rain. The models were clear, but many people did not take it seriously because South Carolina rarely gets severe winter weather. The storm hit on a Tuesday. By Tuesday night, ice was coating everything. Wednesday morning, the power started going out. By Wednesday afternoon, over half the state had no electricity. Trees were falling everywhere. You could hear them cracking and crashing all night long. It sounded like gunshots. By Thursday, the grocery stores that still had power were mobbed. Shelves were empty. Gas stations ran out of fuel. People were getting desperate. By Friday, some areas still had no power. By the following Monday, a week later, some areas still had no power. It took nearly 3 weeks for everyone to get their power restored. During that time, people suffered. Some elderly folks had to be evacuated to shelters. Some families burned furniture to stay warm. Some people tried to run generators in dangerous ways and died from carbon monoxide poisoning. It was a disaster, and that storm only dropped 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of ice in most areas. This storm has the potential to equal or exceed that in terms of ice accumulation over a much larger area affecting far more people. Are you starting to understand the magnitude of what is coming? Here is what the next few days look like after the storm passes. Even when the precipitation stops, the danger continues. All that ice does not just disappear. It takes days to melt. Roads remain impassable. Power crews work around the clock, but they can only fix so much so fast. You could be without power for an extended period even after the storm moves on. This is why your preparation today matters so much. The time to act is now. Not when the first snowflakes fall, not when the ice starts accumulating. Now, right now. Pause this video if you need to and go make a list. Actually write down what you need to do and what you need to get, then go do it today. Let me give you some hope in the midst of this serious situation. Yes, this storm is dangerous. Yes, it will cause significant problems. But Americans have faced winter storms before and we will face them again. Communities come together during times like this. Neighbors help neighbors, people look out for each other. There is something beautiful that happens when the power goes out and the modern world stops. Families actually talk to each other. Kids play board games instead of video games. People rediscover what really matters: community, connection, taking care of each other. History shows us that difficult times reveal our true character. This storm will test us, but it will also show who we really are. It will reveal our strength, and it will give us hope as we see people helping people. So yes, prepare, take this seriously, but do not be afraid. Fear does not help. Action helps. Preparation helps. Community helps. Let me share the meteorological setup one more time in a different way so you really understand what is happening. Imagine you have a freezer full of Arctic air sitting over Canada. That is always there in winter. Usually it stays up there. But this week, the atmospheric pattern changes. The jet stream, which normally flows west to east, buckles. It dips far south. When the jet stream dips south, it acts like a conveyor belt, bringing that Arctic air down with it. So you get this massive dome of brutally cold air settling over the central United States. At the same time, down in Mexico, you have moisture. Lots of moisture from the Pacific Ocean. A low-pressure system pulls that moisture northeast. Now you have cold air and moisture on a collision course. When they meet, you get precipitation. But what kind of precipitation depends entirely on the temperature profile of the atmosphere. If it is below freezing all the way up, you get snow. If it is above freezing aloft but below freezing at the surface, you get freezing rain. If you have multiple layers of warm and cold, you get sleet. This storm has all three scenarios playing out simultaneously in different locations. It is incredibly complex. The boundary between snow and ice can shift by just 20 or 30 miles based on tiny changes in temperature. This is why forecasters are having a hard time pinpointing exact snow totals and ice accumulations in specific locations. But what they know for certain is that the overall pattern is locked in and the impacts will be significant. The storm intensity is also remarkable. The low-pressure system at the surface drops to around 980 millibars at its peak. For reference, a typical low-pressure system might be 990 to 1000 millibars. The lower the pressure, the stronger the storm. 980 is very low. That means strong winds, heavy precipitation, rapid intensification. Wind is actually going to be a major factor that people are not talking about enough. When you have ice accumulation and wind, that is when you get catastrophic damage to trees and power lines. The ice weighs everything down, then the wind pushes on that ice. Branches that might have survived the ice alone cannot handle the ice plus wind. That is when you get massive tree failures and widespread power outages. Wind gusts could reach 30 to 40 miles per hour in some areas during the height of the storm. That might not sound extreme, but when combined with ice, it is devastating. Every gust of wind shakes ice-laden branches. Eventually, they break. They fall on power lines. The power goes out. And in the middle of winter with temperatures in the 20s, no power means no heat for most people. Here is something else to consider. Natural gas heating systems require electricity to run. Even though they burn natural gas for heat, the blower that distributes that heat requires electricity. So if the power goes out, your gas furnace stops working. Many people do not realize this. They think as long as the gas is on, they are fine. But that is not true. Same with water. Many water systems require electricity to pump water. If the power is out long enough, water pressure drops. Eventually, no water comes out when you turn on the tap. This is why storing water before the storm is so critical. Sewage systems also require electricity in many areas. If the power is out for an extended period, sewage systems can back up or fail. This is not pleasant to think about, but it is reality. You need to be prepared for the possibility that normal services we take for granted every day might not be available. Let me tell you what the aftermath looks like based on past storms. When the storm finally moves on, the landscape is transformed. Trees are down everywhere. Power lines are down. Roads are sheets of ice. It looks like a war zone. The silence is eerie because there is no electricity, so there is no hum of appliances, no traffic noise, nothing. Power crews start arriving from other states. You will see utility trucks from all over the country converging on the affected areas. They work 18-hour days in brutal conditions trying to restore power, but it is slow. They have to rebuild entire sections of the power grid in some cases. They have to wait for ice to melt before they can even safely work on some power lines. The National Guard gets activated. They help with search and rescue. They deliver supplies to cut-off areas. They provide generators to critical facilities like hospitals and nursing homes. They clear roads so emergency vehicles can get through. FEMA might get involved if the damage is severe enough. Disaster declarations get issued. Federal assistance becomes available. But all of that takes time. Days, sometimes weeks. In the immediate aftermath, you are on your own. That is why your preparation now is so vital. Let me paint you one more picture of what this could look like. It is Sunday night. The storm is raging. You are at home with your family. The power went out 6 hours ago. Your house is getting colder. It is dark except for the flashlights you remembered to find before it got dark. You can hear ice hitting the windows. You can hear trees cracking and falling outside. Your kids are scared. They have never experienced anything like this. You are trying to stay calm for them. You are grateful that you prepared. You have food, you have water, you have blankets, you have a safe room where everyone can stay together. You have a way to stay warm. Compare that to the family who did not prepare. They are in the same storm. But they ran out of food yesterday. They did not have flashlights. They cannot find anything in the dark. They are cold and scared and do not know what to do. Their kids are crying. They are desperate. Which family do you want to be? The choice is yours, and you have to make it today. Now, the most important part, in times like this, we need to remember what truly matters. Our families, our neighbors, our communities. We need to stay calm and focused. We need to help each other get through this. Some of you watching this are going to face real hardship in the coming days. Some of you might lose power for a week or more. Some of you might have property damage. Some of you might be cut off from help for days. But you are not alone. Your neighbors are facing the same challenges, and together we will get through this. History has shown us time and time again that Americans are resilient. We face challenges head-on. We help our neighbors. We endure. This storm is a trial, but you will get through it, and you will be stronger because of it. I want to encourage you to reach out, check on your elderly neighbors, coordinate with your community, share resources with those who need help. Look out for emergency responders and power crews who will work in dangerous conditions. We are all in this together. Now let me tell you what to expect in the days after the storm passes. Recovery will be slow. Do not expect things to return to normal quickly. Power restoration could take a week or more in the hardest hit areas. Roads will remain dangerous even after precipitation stops because all that ice has to melt. Schools will be closed. Many businesses will be closed. Even after power is restored, it takes time for everything to get back to normal. Grocery stores need to restock. Gas stations need to get fuel deliveries. It is a process. Be patient. Be kind to the people working to restore services. The power crews are working as fast as they safely can. The road crews are working to clear roads. Everyone is doing their best in difficult conditions. Check on your neighbors after the storm. Some people might need help. Some might need food or water. Some might need a place to stay if their home lost heat. This is when community really matters. Here is what I want you to take away from this. Number 1, this storm is real and it is dangerous. Take it seriously. Number 2, you still have time to prepare if you act today. Number 3, help your neighbors, especially the elderly and vulnerable. Number 4, stay strong and resilient. This is not the end of the world. This is a winter storm, a severe winter storm, yes, but something that can be survived and overcome with proper preparation and community support. Before we finish, let me give you 3 final pieces of critical information. First, have a communication plan with your family. If cell towers go down, how will you communicate? Where will you meet if you get separated? Make a plan now. Second, know the signs of hypothermia: shivering, confusion, slurred speech, drowsiness. If someone shows these signs, they need to be warmed up immediately and may need medical attention. But remember, emergency services might not be able to reach you quickly during the storm. Third, know the signs of carbon monoxide poisoning: headache, dizziness, weakness, nausea, vomiting, confusion. If anyone shows these signs, get them to fresh air immediately and do not use whatever heat source created the carbon monoxide. Your life and your family's lives could depend on knowing these things. This storm will test us, but we will get through it. We have faced challenges before and we will face them again. What matters is how we respond. Do we prepare? Do we help each other? Do we stay strong? Do we rise to the occasion? I believe we will. I believe in the resilience of the American people. I believe in the power of community. And I believe that we will watch over each other even in the midst of the storm. So take action today. Prepare. Help your neighbors. Stay strong and trust that we will get through this together. The storm is coming, but so is the recovery. And when this is over, we will have stories to tell. Stories of how neighbors helped neighbors. Stories of communities coming together, stories of resilience being strengthened, stories of survival. Be safe, be prepared, be a blessing to those around you, and may we all watch over each other in the days ahead. One final thought. After this storm passes, there will be another one eventually. Maybe not this winter, maybe not next winter, but there will be another. Let this storm be a learning experience. Learn what worked and what did not. Learn what you need to have on hand. Learn who in your community needs extra help, so that when the next storm comes, you are even better prepared. And share what you learn. Tell your neighbors, tell your family, help others understand how to prepare, because we are all in this together. The winter storm of January 2026 will be remembered. The question is, how will you remember it? As a disaster you barely survived, or as a challenge you overcame through preparation, community, and resilience? The choice is yours. And the time to choose is right now. Stay safe out there. Take care of each other, and may we all protect